Oh,
Hey, out there in YouTube land. Welcome back. I'm glad to see you guys checking in already. Hey, Jesse and uh, Scene. Is that how you say your name, Scene? Is it Sean or Scene?
Sean.
Sean?
Sean, yeah.
Okay. Well, Rasputin's telling me how, no, I mean, Patty's telling me how to say your name. Mike, Patty, yeah. So,
Oh, oh,
hey,
bloody hell.
Pocket Easy. Timothy, hey, how you doing? Man, I hope this is going to be a good show for you guys because it's an interesting subject, at least to me. I think you guys will enjoy it. Um, we're going to be talking today about bush knives. Not necessarily a hunting knife. There's a lot of people that go out in the bush and like to camp and backpack and hike, and they don't hunt. But what kind of knife do you carry out in the bush? What kind of knife do you like to carry? Is it always a fixed blade? Is it always a folder? What do you prefer? And for me, I've always got a folder out in the woods with me. But when I was hunting, I really didn't like using folders because they get all nasty, and I didn't want to have to worry about cleaning them out. So I was mainly I have used folders, but I mainly like used fixed blades when I was hunting. So I want to hear you all's thoughts on that. And with that, we're going to welcome Stephen. Man, this guy, he's hurting. He got hurt, and he's still showing up on the channel. Now that's it's a tough guy, but also it shows a lot of character, and I really appreciate it, Stephen.
But I didn't get here on time. That's the downfall there.
Yeah, you did.
um, but yeah, it's nice to be back again. I think it's a great topic. And, I've quite a few different knives sitting in front of myself. I'm not really a bushman anymore, but I do like to go out in the woods. Um, and yeah, I do like to have the knives that can assist you out in the woods. They don't have to be massive, big knives, but, I like a good collection of knives.
All right. So says Patty. Uh, I got. What am I doing here? There you
Um,
go. I couldn't figure out how to get back. So Terrell's come on, MB, EDC. I seen somebody else in there real quick. We'll see him again. And Jesse's saying, "Hope you feel better soon." There
I'm
you
getting there. I was just a silly old man trying to chase after a dog and ended up on my face.
go.
I've cracked a rib and just the usual for an old man.
All right. Um, what do we got else? Randy's in there. All right. Hey, Randy, how you doing? Like,
Randy's everywhere.
he is. I don't know how he gets involved in everything.
I'm
I
sure
mean,
he's
he
related
is
to
on
Doctor Who.
everybody's channel. He is everywhere. I
Yeah.
think he has a couple clones of himself.
Either that or he's in cahoots with Doctor Who.
So
Nice.
yeah, he carries a Leatherman with him too. I do too in my pack, but that I was talking more like user stuff that you use all the time. And I'll show my. This is my Buck 120, guys. If you were to look at this knife close up, whoa, there we go, right there. If you would look at the thing close up, um, it looks brand new. But I got that when I was 17 years old. My dad gave it to me, and man, I tell you, that skinned a lot of animals and a lot of fish. So not only the bush, I should mention this too. There's a lot of guys who spend a lot of time on the ocean. Um, big game fishing, shark fishing, all kinds of different things. And I use that knife a lot. On salt water, and that's the condition. That's a testament to these buck knives too, by the way. But I mean, you look at that knife, that thing's been in salt water I don't know how many times. Me and my dad, we go fishing every weekend. And it's just, that's what I used up until I don't know, probably the 90s. And then around 2006, I retired that and that's when I started getting into Bark River knives. But
Can I ask a wee quick question there? When you
yeah,
were in the Marines,
yeah.
did you have a specific knife you used all the time there? Was it one of the Benchmades that gets supplied to you, or?
No. So that's that they were giving those to like frontline guys who were more involved in combat activities or patrol or
Yeah,
things like that. They got those, and I had one of those. They gave me a metal utility knife,
right.
and then when we went on exercises, I got a K-bar, so that was the go-to
Yeah,
knife. My neighbor is a former Marine, and he still has his Benchmade, and,
yeah,
and and I'll tell you, those Benchmades, they'll just hold up because like my son-in-law is also a Marine, and he has a Benchmade auto, and those things are fantastic in the field.
they really stood the test of time in Iraq and Afghan as well, didn't they? They really sort of stood out.
Yeah, and I've used mine a lot, so mainly I like my cold steel, but I've used a lot of Benchmade in my EDC, and they just hold up. It's a good build and a good design, and they'll just hold up. And I know they'll hold up in hard use because I know a lot of Marines who had them, and that's actually where I got familiar with Benchmade. So
Yeah, I was really fortunate. I got one about 6 years ago, a Benchmade 940, and it was
mhm.
secondhand from a linesman who actually used it as part of his work knife, and he abused that knife. And he still gave it to me. It was still in good condition, and I've used it for 6 years, albeit I don't use it as hard as he ever did. But it's still going and going really well after that amount of time, and that just lays credit. They make a great knife. Their pricing is off the charts at the minute, but probably not as much as people are making out compared to other companies. I mean, Spyderco's are not cheap anymore. All the main companies are just not cheap anymore.
Yeah,
And I think Benchmade get a bit of a rough, although they have come out with some stupid price knives. That new skinny one is really, well, $500.
yeah, and it's ridiculous too because a little skinny knife like that's fine for pocketing, but they're not very comfortable to use. So yeah, I've got trappers. So I was never a slip joint guy until the last 5 years here. But how many guys use these trappers out there? And they're called trappers because that's what people use, by the way. And I would have never thought about using a slip joint in the skinning or in the woods, and you know uh, that's what they use for 400 years,
Mhm.
in the woods.
Yeah, I mean, I think the one I've got is the case, the big case one. You've got one as well, I know.
Yeah,
I just think this is an amazing big beast of a knife. I mean, it really is. You couldn't fill it. I couldn't fill it with my hand, but it's a superbly comfortable knife with a really substantial blade. I mean, what is the blade on them? It must be a good 4 inches anyway.
um,
Just over 4 inches. That's a really great knife with a secure, really good heavy back spring.
mhm.
Um, just lovely knife.
Yeah, those that they come out in 1928, and they were, these were meant for hunting. It's what they were originally meant for. But like the Buck 110, people found these are really great to have in the trades, and that's where I use this a lot. Was in the trades when I was doing rebuilding and carpentry, house building, that kind of thing.
I think
But
the second blade, that drop point, that is just a beautiful drop point.
what is that? Oh, that's the case.
Yeah, it's the second blade is a beautiful drop point. I
Yeah.
just think it is beautiful. Nearly a clip.
We've got folks here, Pocket EDC, talking about them more. I think somebody else did. And Philip is saying he used his Buck 110 whenever he went out into the woods. Did you skin with that 110, Philip? Because I was saying earlier before you got on that I have used my 110 clean and game, but I tend to use a fixed blade because I just didn't want to get it all gooey and have to clean that up. And I'll tell you a little story. I said it in my video if you guys saw the video, but one time I went hunting and another guy was out there hunting, and I got a buck and he didn't get anything, but he was helping me skin my deer, and he was using a Buck 110, and he was just wearing me out because I'm using my fixed blade. And he was like, "This is all you need, this 110." And, we just bantered back and forth. But the end of that story is to clean it up. All he did is threw it in some water. About 15 minutes, he swished it around a little bit, pulled it out, and he said, "Look, it's clean." That's all there is to it. So I don't know. I've never really got it all guts and stuff all over my Buck 110, but I get it, and really, you don't need a big old fixed blade. A Buck 110 or a case 6265 or 6165 is all you need. We're out there. The Buck 313 muskrat, good for fish and small game. Do you have a muskrat available?
Do I have one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have, yeah.
So again, that goes back to that knife was designed for small game.
Yeah, this is for your squirrels and your tree rats, as I call them. But this is a beautiful one. This actually is this is a Parker Frost. Beautiful, and I think Buck must have made this because it's nearly the same as the Buck one. Looks exactly the same as a Buck, and its makeup. It's really nice.
See, now that's what Timothy just commented, and he said, yeah, he used it, but it's hard to clean, right? And that's my point. So that may be a little better nowadays with these modern folders that are you can look through them. Here's one right there. So that's a little better because you just hose that stuff out of there. But even like on this liner lock, I don't know whether I can get it, but you get that little space in the liner lock, and I would be worried that grizzle and goo and stuff would get in that liner lock and the stupid knife wouldn't work right.
Apart from the liner lock, you have the weight relieving inside there, and if you get dirt in that sort of the holes that are in there, it's very hard to get it all out when you can't get straight on top of it and clean it out. You'll never see what you're leaving.
Yeah, so that's why I just use a fixed blade, and I don't really have a favorite now because I was hunting up until about I'm trying to remember. I think 2008 was maybe the last time I went hunting because I started driving a truck and I just don't have the time to do it. But I picked up this little Schrade basically because the stag on it, right? And this is just a nice little skinning knife right here, and I can't really wait to use it like that. And I'm hoping this year I'll be able to get out and do a little bit of hunting. Maybe, if nothing else, some squirrel hunting or bird hunting. But, little tiny knives like that. This Bark River I bought specifically. I was hunting when I bought this, but honestly, I've never used that. But this thing just feels great and would be an absolute fantastic skinner. And it's got a snake skin. Let's see if I can get. You see the different colors of that micarta there?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And they called it snake skin micarta. And man, I tell you what, I wish I had this when I was hunting. I think this is really a good size for even if you're not hunting, just out in the bush. You can do a whole lot. You can cut your food with that, and do a lot of processing work. And you could even do, like, this is pretty thick, as a lot of Bark Rivers are, and you can definitely do some light woodwork with this. I wouldn't want to take a 4-inch log.
There's another little one. It's a lovely little belt carry. If you're going out on a hike and you want to take a nice little knife, it's a fixed blade. This is a Ashley Harrison Arthur Wright leather handle. Just a beautiful little knife for doing small game. If you want to be honest with you, it's not particularly thin behind the edge, but you could make it thinner behind the edge. But it's great as an all-round camp knife. Just a beautiful. I like the guard on it there, especially when you're doing small things. I like to tuck my finger behind the guard if I want to use that.
Yeah,
I enjoy that. But it's not a nice pommel on it. Just a cheap, inexpensive knife that you don't care what you do with it. So I know, look, it's not for batoning, but if you needed to at a pinch, you can use anything as a baton. But
Elon says he likes being face deep in the bush. Yeah. I don't know. That's an acquired thing, Elon.
But you're right. I mean, this would be my perfect size knife for any bushcrafting task. This is the Bark River. I just love the size of this.
Yeah.
It feels substantial. It feels secure. And as you said, it's thick enough. You can beat the living daylights out of it. You can pry with this. You can do a nice drill hole. You're not going to damage this at all. This one's just an A2, so it's not even a higher end steel that they're coming out with now. But this will do everything I wanted to do.
Who said that? Jesse, right? So Jesse was saying that he takes out a small folder and an axe, and of course, because Jesse's a big axe man, and I still got a really cool axe I want to send him. I haven't forgot about that, Jesse, by the way. So
it's not Jesse's week. I owe him one as well and still haven't sent it.
Yeah.
Not an axe.
It's been like 8 weeks and I have no excuse whatsoever. I told him I was going to send him this axe and it's a beautiful axe. I can't wait to get it to him. But I just haven't been in that mail routine and I had a lot going on. And I still have a lot going on. We're going to Blade Show this weekend.
Oh, you had to get it in again.
Yeah.
It's bouncing off my channel now.
It's my first one. I've lived here 27 years. And just like an hour north of Atlanta, never went to a Blade Show. Damn. So I'm going to go this year. I'm not planning on buying anything, though.
Yeah, right.
Well, I'm not, but.
Yeah, right.
I mean, my wife is really giving me a hard time about
that's a newish one, but I love the way they made that look an older sort of tribal knife, isn't it?
It's a Huron, so it's a Condor Huron. Have any of you guys ever used these in the woods?
I haven't, but
it's a beautiful knife. I love it. I really can't wait to use it. It has that recurve right there with this suck stuff right up into it.
I don't think I would dress something out with that with that brass banding. It might gather an awful lot of guns you'll never get out.
Yeah, but I want to use it.
Yeah, and it's a
Um,
beautiful knife. What sort of is that? An Arabic type knife or
South
an
American.
South
Condor is
American?
a South American company, and
Yeah, but I mean the knife itself, the shape, is that a South American shape? Looks to me more like an African or Arabian. I don't know.
I
It's a
think that's pretty universal. So it's
it's
got that
really
nice
well.
curve to it,
Yeah.
and the blade. I don't know.
I really like it. I have to say, it's the handle
It's
looks
a lot
absolutely.
of belly there, and it's a trailing edge in a way, but it has a drop point.
Yeah.
I was just wondering if any of you guys have used those condors, with game.
I suppose it
Um,
has the classic cookery look as well about it.
it does. It has that little kukri handle. So while the guys kibitz a little bit more about that, yeah, Jesse said it looks cookerish to me. It does. I'm trying to think about. Can you think of another knife that even looks like that?
I do not know.
There's some
No.
Americans like Tops make some knives that
Yeah.
have that kind of design.
I haven't got into tops yet, or it's not something I sort of, and I've heard somebody talking about them earlier on. I use this Mora Robust. Now, this is the old Mora Robust. This knife's at least 15 years old, if not more than that. I
Mm-hmm.
used it when I was bushcrafting, and it's got a thicker stock than your average Mora. Great tip for doing stern, but the handle is the most comfortable handle on anything I've ever held. It is just super. It's plasticky rubber type, and it's just gorgeous knife. Really takes a wicked edge. And I mean, I have batoned with it, and you can still say I use the fire starter with it all the time. But you had to actually make a right angle on the top because they don't come particularly sharp. So you make the right angle. But the sheath was great. I could have me masking tape there for emergencies, and you could carry your masking tape for emergencies, carry a fire starter. And this knife, all right, it's basic. I think it cost me about £15 at the time. And honestly, I had years of pleasure out of this knife. I just fell in love with it. It's only now that I've started to become a collector that I'm spending stupid money to get knives that'll do exactly the same as this.
Elon wants you to show your mini chainsaw.
It's in my car. Sorry, I can't show you it.
What is that?
I bought a mini chainsaw. It's only got a 6-inch rotator on it. And I bought it for the bushcraft that we done, me and Justin done. I bought it specifically. There was an offer on it, and it was so cheap. I just bought it for that skit that we done.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
It's
It's got like a
super.
little a
Yeah,
battery.
just battery. You get 2 batteries with it, and it absolutely mauls through wood. Super.
Was that like an Amazon thing?
I got it off Amazon, yeah.
Yeah.
But it was
Okay.
when they were doing a deal on it. It was, half the already lowered price. So I got it I think it was about 30 something pound for a 2 battery electric chainsaw.
I'm gonna start doing some whittling. I used to whittle a long time ago. I have quit, but I have all this time on my hands. But when I whittled before, I would use a saw to chunk stuff up. Yeah.
Mm.
Well,
'Cause one of your American boys does the faces on a stick,
yeah.
and that's what he uses, a buck 110. This is a buck
Yeah.
112, which is my preference. But he does it all with a buck 110, and it's amazing what he can do with a buck 110.
When I first started knife collecting, I came across these whittlers, right? And so, you're looking on eBay and, it says whittler, and then you see it's pretty tiny. And then when you get it, it's below 3 inches. And I used to whittle, right? So I'm like, there is no way, right? So maybe this was a whittler for a little kid, but it was later I learned they weren't really whittlers. That's just what the knife community called them. But you got one?
I've just bought a new whittler. This is a GEC, and it is absolutely beautiful. And I could think nothing more I'd want to do than whittle with this.
Yeah.
You got the two, they're all Wharncliffes. but too small at the back and one at the front. What a fantastic little knife. Now, this is a wee bit bigger than, I think this is about a 3 3/4 at least, I would say. Let me just see. Yeah, 3 3/4. But a beautifully designed knife. The blades are so thin, especially them back two. You can hardly barely see them. Just great for small whittling, sitting with a stick. Not for anything big or anything complicated. But I love it.
I actually may have one of mine. I may have the Sheffield Farms, which no relation to the English Sheffield.
Yeah. I've got another one from Shatton Morgan, which is a bit different again, and I like the fact that it's different. This one is more traditional whittler.
Yeah, I put it up already. But yeah, so Philip, that Condor bush lore, that's more like a bush knife. Yeah. Hey, show it again. I didn't see it.
Oh.
Yeah, that's nice.
It's got a coping blade, a pen blade, and then a large clip,
yeah,
which is beautiful. I love this one now.
I like that combination of blades.
Yeah, I do.
So the pen blade is really good for digging in.
Yeah.
And then the coping blade for cutting around little lines and stuff, and just plain clip blade, you just whack stuff off with. Yeah. I like that.
That's two, and I like them both. I like the both. They're different as well. So having the two, you have the best of both worlds. And I would get more of them, I have to say. I do like them too.
I mean, the Whittlers were pen blades, and I don't know, collectors just love them. Here's Timothy likes a Western 39. Blade for skinning, stays real sharp, Boulder, Colorado. I don't think I'm familiar with the shape of that 39.
Is it a buck copy?
The Western 39? I think it's
copy?
A hunting style knife, I think. But I'm not real familiar with that. So
it's funny now, this year, sheerly by accident, I actually bought another fixed blade, and I don't know what category you would put it in, because it's one of the Spyderco. I forgot the blooming name of these. Call this. It comes with just the frame, the knife frame itself. It doesn't come with
drop forge.
Yeah,
drop forge.
But it's, what would you use that for? I bought it because it had S15V steel on it, and I wanted to use it. It is really nice stock for going through wood. It is incredibly sharp with a retention that's just stupid. But look at that. It really is.
For making kindling, light kindling, for that little stove you have.
Yeah.
That's a great skinner.
But I like the fact that it's a camp knife. I can take it apart. It's only screwed together. The handles, they come off. You can clean it properly and put it back together again. And
so, my cat is fixing to knock my laptop over. She's freaking out. I think she wants to go outside. So I'm gonna let you talk, and I'm gonna put her out real quick. And
So I mean, it's a really lovely, comfortable knife, but it's not a shape that I've ever used in bushcraft. Has anybody got one of these, or the Spyderco Mule? It is. That's the name I was thinking of. Spyderco Mule. Really, just the perfect edge for. I mean, I wouldn't call it a skinner, because it has a belly, but it's not particularly comfortable as a skinner. I wouldn't have thought. I would use it more for even doing feather sticking, slight woodwork, getting something prepared to use your whittling tool. But I just couldn't resist it, because it's got you can see the back of it. This is the Big Bear, his logo. He done the heat treat on the not S15V, they just call it CPM 15V. He done the heat treat and all. Sal just give him free range, and he come up with this. And I have to say, it's just beautiful, I have to say.
Yeah.
How much longer it lasts than the average one, I don't know, and I'll probably never find out unless Pete does a video of his cutting tasks. But I have to say it's beautiful. I can't wait to use it.
So yeah, Donald's there saying, just you got to know how to do it, right? Basically, and I agree. I never really caused a big mess when I was cleaning game, and you just have to know how to do it. This is an old English knife. Let me see. It is a Joseph Allen and Sons Sheffield knife from 1890. You can see how slim and small that is.
Yeah.
You don't need these big old overbuilt, knives to do it. And this is what they used to use, right? Little thin knives. If you look at the old marble knives and K-bars and stuff like that, they didn't have these big, huge blades. And I like them though. This is my this thing about 70% of the time goes to the woods with me. That's my Cold Steel Trailmaster. See if I can get it all in. I can't even get it all in right there.
There you go. That's it.
Man, this thing just chops like crazy. And I put this thing up against an axe that I have, and it cuts better than the axe. And really light and hand, well balanced. I look Kraton handle, and I wouldn't skin anything. Maybe an alligator with that. You do a lot of chopping when you do alligators, but it's a good camp knife. So if I don't carry this, then I carry an axe, right?
That's a good choice. Here's another.
I mean, they're just great for processing around the camp. Go ahead.
Here's the other thing I carry if I'm going bushcrafting, and that is a kitchen chopper.
Yeah.
I nicked this from our kitchen when it was brand new, which didn't please my wife, but I used this for years. You can see how that edge has been sharpened and stropped and just sharpened and stropped. I don't even know what the steel is on it. I don't think it's going to be anything wonderful. But you see, for delimbing a branch or chopping up kindling for a firewood, it's not over thick, but it's quite happy going to deal with small wood for a fire. It also does in the kitchen for doing your food. It just has so many uses around the camp. I never carried an axe because I was never going to make fires big enough. And if I needed to get thicker logs, I just done it between the V and two trees and snapped it and then fed my logs in. So I never had to have these sort of completely all the same shaped logs. I just snapped them between trees.
Well, we'll have to get Jesse on here and let him show some of his axes. But axes, in the 1800s and early 1900s, people carried hand axes, and there's really not a lot of difference between a hand axe and the cleaver that you just showed. And those things, more and more, I've seen a few companies produce cleavers like that for bushcraft. And I can't name them right offhand, but I've seen them, and it's a great idea. I think that cleaver is not. That's just a good idea. I don't think it's far out there.
It was honestly between having my Mora and that, everything I needed to do was covered.
Right.
Now I always took more knives with me, but these two covered everything I needed them to.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's what the Nesmith's deal was, an axe, his Nesmith knife, and he carried what it looks like to me was a moose pattern. What he carried in the picture that I looked at, which is pretty cool because that's from the 1890s. I don't think people associate the moose pattern, that far back. I think they think of it more as a 1920 pattern, but I'm positive he had a moose type pocket knife. So, maybe he invented the moose. I don't know.
Am I a bit weird though? A lot of times around the camp, I don't use a big knife. And
Yeah,
a
who
lot of
does?
the times around the camp, I'll use something like this.
Yeah,
I put
yeah,
that in my belt because it doesn't stick in my side or anything. It just sits in my belt. It's
yeah,
easy to whip out and use for any sort of most cutting I want to do.
yeah.
It's just, it's an LT Wright. I have a couple of them. I just find them so useful about the camp.
You know, uh, big knives, I think, got popular in the new millennium, right? They were
Yeah.
making these big, fantastic, overbuilt knives, and they really got popular. But the truth is, most of my life I never carried a really big knife out, in the woods. This is a big knife, but it's not like it's just
No.
I think it's a 7. Let me measure it. I think it's a 7.5 blade. It's only 7 inches.
Yeah.
So it's a big,
It looks like a
wide
good work.
knife, right? So this is no bigger than a K-bar. Excellent camp knife. I've taken this out a few times. I love the fat blade on it. It's heavy and it makes a tremendous chopper, and it's good for processing kindling. My Carta scales and the Coke bottle pattern, very comfortable. And then I like this choil. So you can do detail work, but you can't get too far up on it.
Yeah.
You can see, you can do some detail work, but the choil just lets you do that. Some guys, they're like, oh, that's a waste of time. I disagree. I like having it there.
Yeah. The only time the Bark Rivers, you're up really close against it anyway.
Yeah.
Which is the nice thing on the Bark Rivers. And I love this convex grind, I have to say.
Yeah.
I really do like the convex grind. You do tend to get a bit more longevity out of a knife with it on it.
Yeah. Well, the whole idea is I talked about that in a video I just did. I don't think I posted it yet, by the way, but I was talking about, grinds. And I don't know that I can find an example here, but a lot of companies nowadays, man, I can't even put this in there. Can you see that? Oh, hold on. Let me get it up on screen. So, hold on. Can you see the grind on that?
Yeah, it's enlarged, is it? Have you dropped it down a bit?
I haven't touched it. This is brand new, but it's you can see it's a pretty good grind on there, right?
Yeah.
And old time knives have a little tiny grind. You can see on this case, this is original grind on the case, and it's pretty big. But they used to be like hairline
like
grinds.
Much thinner like that.
Yeah. And the idea behind the hairline grind is it puts more blade behind the edge, which will keep your knife sharper. So when you go to a Bark River and a convex grind, that's about the smallest you can get. And the reason Mike Stewart does that is he says that amount of blade that you put on there to your bevel edge will keep that edge sharper longer, right?
Yeah.
And so supposedly that'll give you the longest lasting blade, but it's not too hard to sharpen. I use sandpaper.
Yeah.
And I just roll my sandpaper over like that to keep the convex edge.
Apostle P.
If you roll it like that when you're sharpening.
Yeah. The Apostle P is a great way of doing it. He uses a wet and dry paper, but he sets it on like a piece of thin, not foam, but sort of type of foam, like a hard foam, but it's got give in it. And he puts the paper on top of that. So when he's actually stropping, the foam itself takes it down to the edge, because if you put some weight on it, it takes it right down and it gives you that perfect convex.
Yeah.
I watched him do it and it was amazingly easy.
Yeah. They're not all that hard. It's kind of scary at first if you're not used to it.
Yeah, I learned the wiggle method, which is just doing it yourself, just as you're pulling it back, move your knife up and down.
Yeah. I learned the wiggle method, I think, when I was 12 or 13, but I got in trouble for that. So we're not going to talk about it. The wiggle method.
Does any other people take smaller knives out with them?
Yeah, a lot of them.
Camping, yeah.
A lot of these guys take pocket knives out, and that's what I see too. You know, when I go out in the woods, I think most people take out a bushcraft knife in the 4 to 5 inch range. And I've always liked bigger knives. I used to carry out, you know, like I showed you my buck that's 7 inches, or a K-bar. I carried K-bars a lot. The K-bar I used to carry in the woods with me, I got rid of like a dummy, but it was rusting and worn out, and I finally just sold it at a garage sale. But
I think a lot of
knives.
I think a lot of people in Europe now, and there is a difference between us over here in Europe and America, because you have the freedom to carry bigger knives over there than what we do here. Although when you're bushcrafting, you can carry a big knife, but they always say over here, the bushcrafters over here usually have a blade between 4 and 5 inches.
Yeah.
And that's as big as they want to go. Yeah. Much like the Bark River is about 4 1/4.
Yeah.
That's you don't find many people with a much bigger knives.
Yeah.
Bushcrafting, simply because if people are walking past, you're not going to scare them.
Yeah. I think it's I don't know what to call it. You know, definitely in the 1800s, mountain guys carried big knives.
Yeah.
But they didn't carry them. Like, usually they either belted them, or they had them in a pack, or their pack roll. Those mountain guys carried you know, they rode a horse, and they had a mule. They carried a lot of equipment, and that big knife was part of that equipment. But as things settled down and got more civilized in the 1900s, there just wasn't a need for those big knives, and most of your hunting knives were reduced down between 4 and 7 inches, right?
Yeah.
And but I got to tell you, I love, like, I'm not kidding, 70% of the time I take that now. I'm not carrying that on my side, right?
Yeah.
So I either put it inside my pack, or I lash it to my pack, and I just like having it to process with, you know.
Yeah.
And
well, I'll be honest, I put this on when I'm doing a video, but 9 times out of the 10, this will just sit to the side of my pack or whatever, and I'll use a smaller knife, you know, something like the Buck 112.
Yeah.
It's such I really do love this knife, but I would mostly have something that size on my side.
130.
Well, can I be a real bore? This channel is going to be the first channel I've showed this knife on. I've just got the new Jack Wolf knife, which is going to be released later this month.
Okay.
And he has shocked us all again, and he's done a fixed blade. Look at this beautiful. Look at that beautiful case. Look how well that stitching is done. And it's got a pocket clip if you wanted to do that, or put it on your belt. It's big enough to put on about 1.5 inch belt. And it's a little small. I'm going to have to hurt my side. It's a little small 3-finger fixed blade in S90V.
Yeah.
My goodness, is it comfortable in hand. You do not feel as if you're holding, you know, without it misses my last finger. Sorry, that's not dirt. It's all cuts for what I fell. But this misses the end completely. I don't get it anywhere near it, but so comfortable, I have to say. Beautiful little knife. Really pleased. Stock is usual. I think it must be 3 mil as usual, but fit and finish is absolutely beautiful. Really nice.
I've got a little cold steel that size, cold steel fixed blade, and I've carried that thing a lot as a belt knife. You know, I'll put it scout carry, and just have it with me.
Yeah, This is the sort of size that I like sort of carrying to have when you're just round the camp, round the garden, anywhere. Just a
Mhm.
lovely little knife.
Hey, Ginger Fisher 75 is on board. 1979, alive and kicking. 1977, alive and kicking is on there. That's the first time I've seen that gentleman. Do you know him
I
or
can't
her?
see. I smashed my glasses to pieces as well when I fell. I went straight face first into the ground. So these are old ones, and I can't really read the writing. Sorry.
Oh my goodness.
It was a good day.
Hey, Thrifty Knifty, how you doing, brother? He just made it in there. He must have just got home from work because they're 3 hours behind me.
So here, there's a question for those. Would you, when you're out in the bush or you're, maybe not necessarily hunting because we haven't specifically nailed down hunting, what size of knife do you like to carry? Is it 7 inch plus or below 7 inch? When you're out camping, what do you take with you? I mean, I can understand why you would take that big cold steel. I think it's beautiful, lovely big knife. Will do anything you want. But what do you carry? Let us know what you carry, a big one or small one, or both.
Hey, Engadida Chito, how you doing? He's saying hi to you, Patty.
Hello, mate. How you doing? Oh, that's Cheetah Bandito, is it? With his
Yeah,
new name for today.
I don't know. Is it? That's
Yeah, it's gotta be.
I don't know. Yeah. So listen, Smoky Mountain Knife Works has a sale going on. I bought this knife for $75. It's the Boker single trapper style knife with copper bolsters, pins, and liners. It's an integral uh, bolster liner. 01 tool steel stonewash finish, and it's fantastic. $75 at Smoky Mountain Knife Works. Usually these things are going between $143, $180 or more. And I bought that, and I bought a Kaiser, this nice Kaiser, $48 for this Kaiser, guys. $48. So they got a sale going on. I bought those two knives, and they sent me a free, Rough Rider Red Fox Trapper. And they also sent me a little pocket sharpener, which I used. It actually works. And a little Kaiser 11th anniversary. See if I could get this 11th anniversary coin, which looks really cool. You can see that. And so, yeah, that was cool. I mean, I spent a little over $100, and they sent me a free knife, a coin, and a pocket sharpener.
That's
So,
really nice.
man, I love it. I love getting stuff free.
Yeah.
We pay
Yeah,
so
we do.
much for things. If I could get it for free, I love it.
Here's
But
another little knife I got this year that I absolutely adore. And if you're look at this. Look how thick the handles are on that little knife. Beautiful wood. This is partridge wood, which is a hardwood. Um, but look, it's a little, look at that beautiful little blade. Oh, Scandi grind. A little knife for woodworking, but it's
yeah,
a foldable one. And it is beautiful in hand. Really, you can get a good grip if you wanted to par down and take a bit of wood off. Not a problem. Good stock on it for
mhm.
anything really. But this again is another one that I thought goes hand in hand with whittling. You can take bigger chunks of material off with a knife like this
Yeah,
because it's got the Scandi grind, which
yeah.
just digs into wood anyway.
That's
And I
slip
was
joint, right?
it's Enzo Pique.
Yeah,
Beautiful knife, I have to say.
yeah.
I bought another one as well now, but it's a locker and beautiful knives.
Slippy's on there, and Split and Slice has been here for a while. I didn't say high to them, but high split incises. So I got this. It's the Fox
Oh yeah, you showed me that.
German Navy knife, but this thing is just like a Nautica, right? The only difference is this blade profile is like a little wider than the one on the Nada, I guess, not Nautica, Nada. But man, this is a nice knife. These were like $38 at Chicago Cutlery, and I'm really digging it. It's very smooth. You would love this.
Yeah, it's the lockup. Let people hear the lockup. Oh, beautiful.
And nice natural micarta, good and thick. This would be great, and I would use this in the bush. Okay, I'm really confident with the lockup on that, and I don't see why not. And I think we worry about that, but like I said before, they use these things for 400 years in the bush. That's all they had was slip joints. This thing, this Campana, is a Nito Campana, and it is you would love it. It's like a 7-8. Hear that?
Beautiful. Yeah.
I mean, it is a solid lockup. This thing ain't closing on you, and that would be cool.
I just love the handles on that. They are beautiful.
I tell you what, if I go camping this summer, I'm taking this along. I'm going to use it.
Yeah.
I'll use it fishing if nothing else.
I mean, that wasn't that dear either, was it? It was a really reasonable price.
This was I paid $68 for it.
That's good. For a nice bit of stag. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's what I figure. Is stag is expensive, and what's the steel on it? It's in 695 steel is what it is. Pretty good stock on it.
Yeah. Oh, it's a working knife. There's no doubt about it.
You got jimping there, and then look at that work back on that.
That makes it bling.
It's so the liners have like a stud look, and then you've got squares with like hollows in between the squares for the worked spine on this. It looks like a man's chain.
Like a bracelet.
Chain bracelet. It looks freaking awesome. And it's $68, but I think that's really worth it because that is genuine stag done really well on here.
Yeah.
And this thing was really stiff. I think I was telling you about that. And I've been using it, popping it, and it's worked, right? So it's getting, it's not as
gritty.
It wasn't really gritty, it's kind of this, it was like the pinched, right? So the blades pinched a little too hard, and it was rubbing on the liners. But as I've worked this, it's just fine.
Am I right saying is that screwed together?
I thought it was, but it's not. Let me see if I can show you that. So it is not.
Well, that's good. I'd prefer that anyway.
Now the Fox is right. Where's the Fox go? So the Fox is modern attaching hardware, but I like that. I don't know. I mean, me and you were talking about that. When I show these things, they don't get a lot of views. I love them. I love those new modern slip joints. And yeah, like if we were skinning out some squirrels or some birds with this, or even filleting fish, you just pop them screws off and clean this knife completely out. So it makes a lot more sense in a hunting or bushcraft type knife than your pinned trapper that you can't take apart.
Sorry, I just whacked myself opening my Ashley Harrison. This is about a 9.5. And oh, but this is one of my favorite small slip joints for using out in the bush. It hasn't been out there yet, but it's going out this year for in the next week or two.
Yeah.
This is just, look at that blade.
Yeah.
See that bowie shape. It's just a beautiful, it's a thick enough spine on it, but not too thick. Great big handle on it. It's a handle the same size as a trapper. Just a gorgeous knife. Love it. It's
Slippy's talking about your hardware, by the way.
What's he saying? Raspy and Patty.
They're so bad.
What did Slippy say? I didn't see it.
He said he doesn't want to talk about your hardware.
Bless him. He doesn't say that when we're alone, let me tell you.
You hear it, guys. You heard it here first.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with being bilingual.
All right. So we're going to keep this to an hour today. I really appreciate all your guys' comments. I like knowing that stuff. It's all data points for me. I research this stuff. I know what I do, but you can't go out there and tell people what you do and act like an authority when you never listen to other people. And I'm a people watcher. So all my life, like I go out in the woods and I talk to guys about their, what they're using hunting and what's their favorite. And I ask questions like that. I just pay attention to what everybody else is doing. And I really appreciate all the comments about what you guys use in the field. And it's kind of what I figured. I think a lot of people use boulders in the field, and these big knives are overblown.
A good mixture of knives is nice.
Yeah, it's good to have a pocket knife. I didn't really cover modern knives. Like I talked about it briefly, though. I didn't bring any out. But I think a lot of guys carry those now. I see a lot of guys in the woods with modern folders.
Yeah.
And
well, they're made so well, and they've got great blade steel. I mean, why not have them out there?
Yeah. If one of you guys were interested in this Kaiser is called a Towser, and kind of familiar shape on it. But the micarta is linen micarta, and it's not polished. So when the feel on this kind of feels soft, right? Yeah. Like fluffy, right?
Yeah,
it feels
fluffy. Like Kaisers, they're nice.
Like they roughed it up but they didn't polish it, and a beautiful micarta on there. I like that little linen fluff feel. It's pretty cool, and yeah, so I just wanted to show the micarta on that.
Yeah, nicely.
Look at the action on this thing. Watch this thing drop. Boom. You don't have to touch it. It just it's beautiful. Like that's it. $48. That's phenomenal. That kind of action on $48. All right, man. I appreciate you so much, Stephen. For I know you're hurting, dude.
And no, wouldn't have missed it. There's a good crowd comes in. I love the fact that they're all talking amongst each other and talking to us. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and you're a tough guy, man. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you making it, even though you're hurting. So
you'll not say that when I'm crying when we're off air.
That's true. All right. You want to say your goodbyes, brother?
Yeah, thank you, everybody. It's always a joy to join you, and thank you very much indeed for all that you're doing.
All right. And let's see, we got one more minute. Y'all say goodbye to each other because I'm about ready to shut her off. There you go.
Take care, night.
All right. Thanks again, everybody.